Rounding out our coverage tonight in Washington, D.C. Tom, thanks. Now to the other front we are covering tonight and have been for days on end. We shift our coverage to Boulder, Colorado, where today they officially set the all-time record for rainfall, and it has resulted in a desperate situation there, as you know. The latest numbers from there are grim. 7 people confirmed or presumed dead. At least 19,000 homes destroyed or damaged, say nothing of the estimated 30 bridges that are out. Most urgently, hundreds of people are still officially unaccounted for. In a moment, an extraordinary view of it all from just above the unfolding situation. But first, the very latest from the ground against this fight against water in Boulder, Colorado. Our national correspondent, Kate Snow, is there for us tonight. Kate, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. It is believed to be the most massive aerial search and rescue effort underway ever since Hurricane Katrina. All afternoon, helicopters ferried people out of neighborhoods and towns completely shut off from the outside world, and there are still more people waiting.
We have a long ways to go, folks.
Before dawn this morning, dozens of agencies coordinated rescue plans, hoping the rain that pounded Boulder overnight and all day Sunday would finally let up.
The helicopters are ready.
By mid-morning, a break. Battalion leader Lieutenant Colonel Tyler Smith suited up and took off in search of the most vulnerable.
Once you cross over into the mountains, you can see all the water flow. Many of the roads have washed out, and so these people are somewhat stranded geographically.
Stranded until today. Our cameras were on board for the rescue. Children with backpacks, families with pets, people in wheelchairs and walkers, all back on high ground. They'd been told to write SOS messages on their driveways, use sheets or flags, anything to draw a chopper's attention.
Anything you can do to get our attention, we'll stop.
The roads are treacherous and only go so far. We headed up Left-Hand Canyon in military vehicles with a search and rescue squad out of Utah. So you know whether there are a lot of people in there, or you have no idea?
We don't know. My understanding is it's an area that hasn't been looked at yet.
The teams find homeowners who want to stay put.
They're actually recommending an evacuation because there obviously won't be any services available to you for they don't know how long.
5 days in, there are still entire towns cut off. For the first time, we're seeing what life is like in Jamestown.
The creek kept rising. It started taking out houses, and we watched one by one houses just cracking off and going into the creek.
At Boulder's command center, they're reaching some people using ham radio.
Everything okay? Water, whatever?
We have no way of refilling the tank, so once that water runs out, it's going to get bad.
Trying to make contact with the missing, one person at a time. Mike Horn thought his wife of 38 years, Florence, was missing. Water rushed through and rolled their house into the river. They were separated. A rescuer found him hanging from a tree.
He says, "Where's your wife?" And I said, "I think she's lost."
But she survived, rescued by a good Samaritan.
Most brave man in the whole world to jump in that water.
The good news tonight is as people are connecting with rescuers, connecting with law enforcement, they're finding out that those people are accounted for. The number of unaccounted is going down. The bad news, though, the governor thinks the death toll will rise here. And Brian, tonight there is still a flash flood watch in effect for parts of Colorado. Brian.
Kate Snow starting off our coverage from Colorado. Kate, thanks. And as you saw very briefly there, we found the view from the air is the only real way to explain the dimension of this natural disaster that's being felt over more than 100 miles in and around Boulder. We get that perspective from above tonight from NBC's Miguel Almaguer.
Wow, look at this. Rock slides, mudslides, so many disasters, so much devastation. We have seen so many properties impacted. There are simply too many damaged homes to count.
That's unbelievable. This is the Big Thompson River that weaves right through a residential neighborhood. It's completely wiped out this section of town.
The state says at least 30 highway bridges are completely destroyed. More than a dozen dams have been compromised. This one is completely breached. Down the road here is homes. Those now are in jeopardy.
Wow. Wow.
So many of these smaller communities are completely surrounded by water. No way in or out by foot or by car. There's a Chinook helicopter, one of about 15 that have been doing air operations. They are ferrying out thousands of people that are simply surrounded by water. We've come along groups of people like this throughout our time up in the air. The National Guard has made it very clear they want everyone out of this area, but some just refuse to leave. When you see where the cars are scattered and where the homes are submerged, you can tell here that those that were in the path of the water had little or no time to escape. The more we fly, the more land we cover, the more heartbreak we see.
Incredible.
Above the flood zone, Miguel Almaguer, NBC News, Boulder, Colorado.
We will take now our first break, and still ahead for us tonight, the Herculean engineering effort now underway tonight to right the ship, the Costa Concordia, the crippled vessel that remains a partially submerged tomb. Back now with the colossal effort underway off the coast of Italy. We have a live picture tonight of the shipwrecked Costa Concordia. It's still there, right where it slammed into a reef over a year and a half ago, capsizing, leaving 32 dead. Now engineers are trying to get it righted and get it out of there. Our report tonight from NBC's Michelle Kosinski.
The movement is virtually imperceptible, even in time lapse, 10 feet an hour. But the significance here is enormous. This is actually working, engineers say, exactly as planned, down to the millimeter.
And the internal structure is staying intact?
Yeah, this is also a reason of satisfaction for us, because the vessel is rotating in a uniform way as a solid body, and so this is a good news for the future.
Revealing the blue and yellow tiles of the swimming pool, the glass-domed atrium where the movie theater once was. Nothing on this scale has ever been done before. But through the night, the Concordia will be rolled upright, more gigantic metal boxes attached to the side that was on the reef so it can float. There was an hour-long halt this afternoon when a few slack ends of the steel cables pulling the wreck got in the way of others, but trained climbers quickly boarded and simply moved them away. For survivors like Luciano Castro, whose lifeboat that night barely made it down this steeply sloping ship, getting rid of this monument to stupidity, as he calls it, is a relief. Many feel for the victims, two of whom have never been found, including Kevin Rebello's brother Russell, a ship's waiter who helped passengers escape, giving away his own life jacket.
Fingers crossed, I hope to find something to give him a decent burial. That's what me, my family, his wife and his kids, all of us are hoping for.
High hopes on this tiny island. Michelle Kosinski, NBC News, Isola del Giglio, Italy.
And when we come back tonight, a recovery update from the Jersey Shore. The UN report is out. Weapons inspectors have found, quote, clear and convincing evidence of large-scale chemical weapons use in Syria. Their report indicates the rockets used and the type of nerve gas could only have come from the Assad regime. U.S. and its allies now hoping the report helps to force Assad's hand. We have an update tonight on where we were for Friday evening's broadcast, the seaside boardwalk on the Jersey Shore. Government aid has been made available to the 30 burned out businesses. And while the surviving boardwalk was up and running this weekend, and while the investigation into the cause of the fire continues, those who plan to stay and rebuild want to be open by next summer, having struggled to open this summer after Sandy decimated the area. The White House announced today former Army Captain William Swenson will receive the Medal of Honor for his combat actions while training Afghan troops. Captain Swenson, an Army Ranger, will become the 6th living recipient from our recent wars. White House ceremony is October 15th. Up next for us tonight, making a difference in the midst of a disaster in the Rocky Mountains. Tonight, our Making a Difference report comes from the flood zone in Colorado. It's about the people who have put their lives on hold to help those whose lives have been torn apart by this unstoppable water. NBC's Joe Fryer has the story.
The worst enemy for a restaurant on wheels just might be a flooded street.
I've lived here my whole life. I've never seen anything like this.
Rolling Greens food truck couldn't roll through much of Boulder last week. Rain dried up all of Chef Ryan Cunningham's business, yet he hasn't stopped rolling. He's giving away his food for free.
I just decided, hey, I love chefing. That's what I do every day, so might as well just continue to chef, but feed people who are in need this time instead of making money.
Going to feed people, let's go!
For the past few days, Cunningham and his fiancée have driven their truck wherever nature allows.
All right, we got some beet salads
delivering food to flood victims like Suzanne Duval.
And we just love you.
She's already overwhelmed by support from fellow teachers and neighbors who donated their day cleaning out her flooded home. It's the closest Suzanne has been to tears.
But mostly it's the tears of, wow, I can't believe people are helping us, and they're so gracious.
Some weights.
Sherilyn Tronco has good reason to help. Hurricane Sandy hit her home in New Jersey last year.
I had a bunch of people come in and help my flooded house, and I wasn't able to help out, so I figured might as well pay it forward a little bit and help out today. So
this is good karma in action.
We make food, so we're just trying to do what we do for the people who need it right now. Hey, I'm Ryan.
And those receiving the help won't forget.
We could not do this without help.
And that's what it takes to keep a community rolling. Joe Fryer, NBC News, Boulder, Colorado.
And because so many of you have asked us how to help the victims and families in Colorado, we've put that information on our website tonight, NBCNightlyNews.com. That is our broadcast for this Monday night as we start a new week. Thank you for being here with us. I'm Brian Williams. Of course, we hope to see you right back here tomorrow evening. Good night.